Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining me. Now today I'm excited to get to share with you a brand new Shape Shaker kit from Queen&Co. Now this is called the Sunny Days Shape Shaker Kit. Flip-flops, palm trees, and ice creams are loaded in here. And so we're going to take a look at what comes inside. Now behind your cover sheet here, there's a step-by-step instruction guide. In case you're new to the Queen&Co Shape Shaker kits, this is a very helpful guide and tells you how to put together your Shape Shaker. But let's take a look. Now in this kit, you get 9 pieces of self-adhesive foam shape shakers. Now I'm going to compare them against an A2 size card base. And so you get 3 of the flip-flops. And they are so cute. This is the first time I've ever made a flip-flop card, so I'm so excited about this. But you just remove the inside piece and then remove the adhesive and then place it on your project and add your toppings. Same goes with the ice cream cone. You just take out that center piece. And then same with the palm trees. So adorable. Now along with those, you get your coordinating acetate sheets, and you'll get 9 of these. You'll get 3 of the palm trees, 3 flip-flops, and then 3 ice creams. So you don't have to worry about fussy cutting out acetate for these. Everything's done for you. And then you also get a stamp set. This is a 3x4 stamp set with a bunch of fun summer sentiments. I believe there's 9 sentiments total, but they're great for the ice creams, for summer, for the flip-flops even, which is great. Now also included in this kit are the coordinating dies. Now the nice thing about these dies for this kit is there's details on them. So there's some embossing on the palm tree along with some stitching, and there's stitching along the flip-flop and also along the ice cream. And I love my stitch dies, so these I'm so excited to get to play with these. Now I want to tell you also that they're giving out a bonus this month. Now from today until the 15th of June, if you purchase this kit, you'll also get a sample bag. This is the summer mix of the diamond toppings. So pretty. So if you're watching this after the 15th, these won't be available in the kit if you do purchase it. But the diamond toppings are available individually, and I'll leave links in the description area if you really like them. But they're beautiful. They're nice and shimmery. So that's everything in the kit. We're going to jump in with our first project. So I have a piece of white cardstock here, and we're going to make an ice cream card. So I'm going to take the die and cut out my ice cream. And then for this card, I decided to use some designer dies. This is the Lines designer die, and it will cut out a complete front, an A2 size front for your card base. So I just cut that out with white cardstock. I'm just going to take my sheer glue here, and I'm going to glue that directly on my card base, and it will fit perfectly. And then I'm just going to set that aside to dry, and we're going to shade in our ice cream. Now to color in my ice cream for my first card, I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to go in with some Wild Honey, and I'm just going to go around the edge of the top portion of my ice cream and also the centerpiece. Now I wanted an orange. I remember the ice cream man when I was little, and I love the 50/50 bars, so that's what I was going for here. To shade in the popsicle stick, I'm using Vintage Photo, but it just wasn't orange enough for me. So I'm just using what's left over on my red blending tool. I believe it's candied apple, and I'm going to add a little bit of candy apple just to make it a little bit more orange. But I really like the way that looks. Okay, now this little piece of paper here was a leftover piece from my die cut panel that we cut out earlier, and it will fit my sentiment perfectly, so I thought I'd put that to good use. Don't have to worry about my lines being crooked. So I grabbed the sentiment. Now the sentiment for this card, I chose "You Are the Coolest," and using my VersaFine ink, I'm going to stamp that all the way to the right here. And it wasn't centered, so I'm going to stamp it one more time. I have lots of those strips left over, so why not? Get it perfect. We'll just clean off my stamp and place that back. Okay, now we need a little color on our background panel, so I'm going to take my designer lines designer die again, and then what I'm going to do is take some pattern paper. This is the Delightful Dots pattern paper. It's a well-loved paper pad from Queen & Co. And I picked a red, an orange, and a yellow, and using my die I'm going to cut out strips. I want to cut out 2 red ones, 2 yellow ones, and then 3 orange ones, and those are going to go right back on my card base. So we're going to do a little inlaying here. And I decided to put the 3 strips of orange all the way to the top. The nice thing about the sheer glue is you have a little bit of wiggle time before it dries. So just placing them in there. And I got a little glue on the edge, so I just used my sand eraser to take that off. But I think that's a great fun background, nice summery background. Now I decided to cut out a piece of vellum using a scalloped circle die from my stash, and then I have this white glitter paper. I cut out a small thin frame using my circle dies from my stash, and that's going to go on my vellum piece. I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle, and this is a great way to do that. I'm just going to take my scissors and trim off the right side of my scallop circle there. Now I wanted my sentiment to go along one of the white lines on my card base. So I'm just kind of arranging it, and then I remove the sticky from my popsicle, the back side, and I'm kind of lining it up, and then I'm going to stick that down to my vellum. Once we have that done, I'm going to glue down the center of my popsicle. We're going to add a little bit of color behind our little shaker, and it fits perfect in there. Okay, now we're going to add our toppings. Now I wanted some warmer color, so I'm not going to use the bonus toppings that came in the kit here. So I actually have the diamond topping set. It comes in a rainbow of colors, so I grabbed some clear, some yellow, and some orange, some nice warm tones, and I think that creates a nice sparkly background. Now I'm going to grab my acetate piece and place that on my shaker window. Just remove the adhesive backing, the plastic off the top. Then I'll add my acetate, and it just fits beautifully. Now I'm going to flip this over, and using my tape runner, before I add I'm just kind of figuring out my layout. I know I want my sentiment to be tucked underneath the popsicle stick. So we're going to adhere this to our card base. And I'm just adding my tape runner behind the popsicle. That way it doesn't show through the vellum. Okay. Now this is the inside piece of this the shape shaker. I'm just trimming it down, and I'm going to place that on the end of my sentiment, and I'm going to place that on one of the white lines on my card base. That's a great way. If you don't use, sometimes I'll use the negative pieces of my shape shakers, but today I'm going to use it for my sentiments. So just using my glue, I'm going to adhere my ice cream cone right over the top of my shaker window. Okay, now just for a little bit more, I'm taking some sparkle string. This is yellow sparkle string, and then I'm going to use a gluer to glue that down. Gluers are like like acetate sticky dots, and they work well for adhering things. So I'm going to adhere my bow to my popsicle with one of my little gluers. And then for a little bells and whistles, I decided to go in with some iridescent bubbles. These are the yellow iridescent bubbles, and we're just going to add a few around our little scene. And I love the warm, sunshiny colors that this has. But that completes my first project. So cute. Here's a few close-ups for you. Okay, now we're going to move along to our second project. For this card, we're going to be using the palm trees. So I'm going to use this designer die. This is the speech bubble? Yes, speech bubble designer die. Now I'm not going to use it as a speech bubble, but I just want the oval shape. And so since it fits my card front perfectly, I thought we'd go ahead and use that. Now I cut out a piece of the blue pattern paper from the Delightful Dots, a piece of vellum, and also more of the shimmer cardstock. I'm going to use a wave die and cut out some waves with those. Now I'm going to layer my blue polka dot paper to my glitter paper. And you can see I also cut out my palm trees, 2 of them for this card. Okay, now I cut out a strip of the yellow polka dot pattern paper. And then that's going to go right behind my speech bubble. I think that'd be a nice summery background. I'm just going to use my tape runner, place that behind my speech bubble, and then position it on the front of my card base. So I have the background there. And then the bottom portion of the speech bubble will be covered with my little waves there. My little scene. Okay, now we're going to color in our palm trees. And again, I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to be using Twisted Citron. It's a bright green. I'm going to go around the edges of the top portion of my palm tree, and then also the inside. And the same with the second one. And then for the tree trunk, I'm going to go in with my vintage photo and just shade that in with my blending tool. So they're all ready to go. Now I grabbed the shaker shape here. Now I'm going to actually tape down my little hillside. I don't know if it's a wave or a hillside, kind of both. But I like the blue and the yellow together, so that's why I went with that. Now I'm going to arrange my palm trees. I know I wanted one in the window portion and then one towards the bottom. Now the palm tree that's on the bottom is going to be actually my shaker card. So I'm just going to place my vellum right underneath it. And then I'm going to take the inside piece of my foam shaker shape, and I'm actually going to place that right on top of my palm tree on the very top. And it's going to stick to the very back portion of my panel there. And I'm going to do the same thing. Well, I'm going to remove my colored in palm tree and kind of position it where I want it, and I'm going to place my shaker shape towards the bottom. And it's going to stick to the blue polka dot pattern paper and my vellum. But I didn't want the glue to show behind my vellum, so I decided to use my sheer glue to hold that down. Now you'll see that the vellum's flipping up on the right side, but we're going to fix that in just a little bit. But I'm going to flip this panel over, and just using a piece of white cardstock, I need to create a backing for my shaker window. So I'm just placing a piece of white cardstock covering that open area. That way I can take the inside of my palm tree and place that right on top here. And then that way my shaker element is ready to go. I'm going to remove the backing off of my top palm tree and place my colored in right on top. And there is a little adhesive showing on the foam shaker part. So I'm just taking my anti-static powder tool and going around the exposed tacky area, and it just removes any tackiness. Okay, now for this palm tree, I'm going to, stamp my sentiment first. So I took another one of those strips from card number 1. They're coming in really handy. So the sentiment for this card, I think it goes good with palm trees. It says, "Relax and enjoy your day." I'm going to stamp it with VersaFine ink. Okay, now I'm going to build my shaker. Now I'm going to take the bonus toppings that came with this month's kit, add some to my palm tree, remove the backing, and then I'll grab the acetate that goes right on top. I've got to make sure I flip it the right way. So I flipped it around, place that on top. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my colored in palm tree right over the top. Okay, now I'm going to add my sentiment. Now, there was a leftover piece from card number 1 from my ice cream, so I'm just going to use my scissors and trim it down, place that behind my sentiment, and then I'll cut down a piece and place it all the way to the left. And then we're going to get one more towards the right here. And then I'll just remove the backing off of that. And then I'm going to take my glue, and this is where I glue down my vellum. I just added a strip of my sheer glue. That way it's going to hide behind my sentiment. I wasn't sure where I was going to put my sentiment, so I didn't glue it down yet. But I'm just going to place that in the very center. And the nice thing about using your leftover pieces of your foam shaker shapes is it's the same width. Although if you were to triple up 3M foam tape, it would equal the same width as the foam shaker shapes. Okay, for bells and whistles, I decided to go in with some more of the yellow iridescent bubbles. These come in a variety of colors and they're so pretty. But I placed 2 next to the sentiment and then 2 around my palm trees, and that finishes off project number 2. Very fun and summery. Like the way that turned out. Okay, now for my final project, we have to use our flip-flops. I was so looking forward to this. So this is also a designer die. This is the Sunburst, and I'm going to cut out a piece of the glitter cardstock, and then also taking 2 of the flip-flops, the dies. I'm going to cut out 2 flip-flops. Okay, now I also use a designer die to cut out a background using the yellow pattern paper from the Delightful Dots paper pad. Okay, I'm just going to use my glue and adhere that to a card base. I had to grab my card base. That was actually a piece of 4.5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch cardstock. It wasn't a card base, so I had to grab my card base. But I placed that on my card base, and then now I am taking my glitter paper here. I'm going to flip it around, and we're doing some paper piecing here. Some inlay. I'm going to inlay the glitter paper on my little sunbeams. And those little ones just weren't sticking. But I wanted this card to have some nice shimmer to it. And we'll just use my glue and add the center of my sun and that one little piece. Just didn't want to stick. And I think that's a really fun background. Now, typically, if you were to use a sunburst designer die, you'd flip it around. But I wanted the circle to be on the bottom because I want to cover up the sun center with the flip-flops. Now we're going to color in the flip-flops. And I decided to use 2 different colors. I'm going to use a little bit of Twisted Citron and then a little bit of the Peacock Feathers. Give this a little bit of a two-tone look. So I went over my flip-flops. I'm just going to, I love those colors. They are together. It's so summery. I'm going to do a little shading on the top portion of my flip-flops also. Just on the edges. I wanted the top to stand out a little bit more, so I'm just going over the edges. I want it to be predominantly white. Okay, now we're ready to arrange our little scene. Now for this card I'm only going to use the Shape Shaker, one of them. So this flip-flop here I'm going to glue directly down to my card base. This is the outline of the one we colored. I'm just kind of arranging it. And then I'll take the inside piece and glue that down. Fits in there beautifully like a little puzzle. And then I'm going to remove the backing off of my, oh no, actually I'm going to put the top portion of my flip-flop. I decided to add a little bit of dimension, and so I added a little piece of foam tape to the very top portion of my sandal here. And then I just gluing down the sides. And here's where I remove the backing off of my foam shape here. I'm kind of going to overlap them a little bit. Lovely. And then I'll take the inside and just glue that down. Add my toppings. I love the color of this mix. And then I'll take the acetate, place it right on top. And then I'll add some glue around there. And then I'll do the same thing I did with the top portion of my flip-flop. Just adding a little piece of foam tape on the top, and I glued the ends down. Now for my sentiment, I grabbed my Mini Misty because I wanted to do a color gradient on one of the words in this sentiment. I chose a sentiment that says, I flip for you, which is so cute, and I wanted the flip to have a little bit of color. So I'm going in with some wild honey, adding some twisted citron, and then I'm going to top it off with my peacock feathers. And I did mask off the I and then the for you. I'll stamp that, and then just using my purple tape, I'm going to mask off the flip this time. And then I'm going to ink it up with my VersaFine ink, and I'll remove my tape, and then I'll stamp it. I think this is a great way to add a little bit of color to your sentiment. So my sentiment reads, I flip for you. Now I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and trim it down. I did angle the right end here. Added a piece of foam tape behind there, and I'm just going to place that on my card base. Now to doctor up my flip-flops a little bit, got to add a little bling, so I'm going to add one more iridescent bubble right through the center of my shoes there. And then I was going to add one more, and then I thought I'm going to leave it as it is. I think there's a lot of glitter going on there, so two little iridescent bubbles work out perfectly. But here's a close-up of project number 3. So these are the 3 cards that I made today. Oh, I wanted to take this time to show you. This is Chance. She's new to our family, and I have a lot of wounds that this little booger has caused me. And so if you see me card making and you see scratches on my hands, it's because of this cute little adorable new addition to our family. Her nails are so sharp, and when I play with her, she likes to attack. So if you see little owies on my hand, this is the reason why, and I just thought I'd share that with you. I'm a little self-conscious of those little I call them owies because I have 2 young girls at home, but she's the reason why. But here's a quick look at the 3 cards that I made today using the Queen & Co.'s Sunny Days Shaker Kit. It's available at the Queen & Co. shop. Links will be below in the description area for you. And remember, the bonus, if you order your kit by the 15th, you get a bonus summer mix of the Diamonds toppings, which are so beautiful. But I wish you a fantastic day, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we will see you again soon.